Have you ever seen a car on fire on the highway? Everyone rubbernecking to get a good look, and as it recedes in your rearview mirror, you think to yourself, how did that fire start? And then, before the world ended, you see a 15-year-old girl doing TikTok dances on the Jimmy Fallon show while he pretends like he knows what's going on. And you think to yourself, how the hell did this fire start? Well, folks, like someone discovering a bloated corpse along the bank of the Hudson River in the beginning of an episode of Law & Order. Well, let's see how the fire got started. For that, we have to go back in time. So the year is 2013. Lorde and Taylor Swift are the biggest artists of the year. That Cup song apparently is the only song that's allowed to be played on the radio under penalty of death. Frozen hits theaters like an errant locomotive. The song, Let It Go, promising to be listed in the suicide notes of parents across the country. But perhaps, most importantly, Vine is born. God is dead, and we're the ones who killed him. For those of you who don't know, Vine was a social media app founded with one goal in mind: to allow anyone to potentially become a star by filming videos about anything they wanted. With one catch: the videos could only be 6 seconds long. The app was absolutely free, and it worked. Vine was the McDonald's chicken nuggets of media. Absolutely no substance, yet we couldn't handle consuming less than 40 at a time. And that's not to say that nothing good came out of it. Even mushrooms grow out of shit. But Vine gave many talented people an accessible place to get their start. Genuinely funny people whose names you may never have heard of before. Noel Miller, Cody Ko, Curtis Connor, Drew Gooden, Danny Gonzalez, David Dobrik. If you ignore literally everybody he hangs out with and focus on the fact that he seems like a nice boy. Not to mention Sarah Shower, Liza Koshy, Chloe Woodard. Oh, Shawn Mendes, who was posting Vines a year before he blew up, continued to post after he got famous. This 6-second app literally had its own stars, people who made millions of dollars, and it allowed the chance for anyone who created to go viral in a way that was previously unheard of. At its height, Vine had over 200 million users, allowing teens and sad adults alike a way to create and share content with the world, conceivably all in search of the same goal: internet stardom. And some of these people created genuine moments of bizarre comedy genius and absolutely beloved shitposts. There was no law, no real rhyme or reason, just the trends the users on the site created themselves. And that's important to note because Vine was the first of its kind. YouTube was obviously the first massively successful video hosting app, but due to its accessibility options and its infamous algorithm, discoverability has always been dicey at best. With Vine, any one of those 200 million people could end up seeing your video that you made from your phone anywhere in the world, and as many times as they wanted. And most amazingly, we discovered that you didn't have to make good art to reach an unfathomable demographic. Now, the names I mentioned earlier were exceptional, but numbers-wise, many of them were not considered in the top 10 most popular Viners, who, by the way, had loot counts in the literal billions. And not to mention sponsorships from huge brands who would pay thousands and thousands of dollars per Vine. It's not delivery, it's selling out. Once again, free app where you could make a 6-second video and make enough to cover your rent for the month. And these Viners, as they were called, considered themselves actors, singers, dancers, and without any trace of irony or self-awareness, comedians. But honestly, Vine's cultural impact cannot be overstated. It added new slang and trends to the zeitgeist, a shorthand for people to understand who's truly on the same page. Road work ahead? Yeah, I sure hope it does. This bitch empty. Yeet. And like Indiana Jones, I find myself pointing my finger at all of it and yelling it belongs in a museum. And as a self-appointed internet historian, I found it important to look back on something that was so representative of a time. Also, hopefully to someday answer questions like, did that girl ever learn that those weren't chickens? So, hop in me mum's car and let's go brum brum on our way to a cultural touchstone. I recommend you wash your hands immediately after touching. In a time when many talented people are crushed by imposter syndrome, Vine users kicked in the door, unashamed, and demanded the attention they so craved. Whether that meant genuinely showcasing their talents or creating comedy with horribly offensive stereotypes, overly exaggerated faces, just the worst physical comedy, or yelling a punchline instead of actually writing a good one or just having a personality. We live in both a confusing and exciting time media-wise, and much of that is thanks to Vine. After its death, many of its creators went to different platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and now TikTok, where they have still gigantic followings, creating videos, daily life blogs, music, And I will reiterate, just the shittiest sketch comedy, with just absolutely no joke writing technique, and commentary channels. Did you know there's now a market for reaction videos that are reacting to a reaction video that is in itself reacting to something else? Oh, not to mention, some of its creators just ended up on TV because of their influence from Vine. Vine, in many ways, is the reason why a large portion of the internet creates the way that it does. Quick cuts are now ubiquitous among YouTube videos, or using memes to punctuate jokes, or even just the continued evolution of using memes as a bullet-pointed form of expression. We're talking about 6-second videos. By this point in this video, you could have watched anywhere from 40 to 60 Vines. It invented, carved the path, and paved the road to a new job market that most people would rather do now than anything else. Being a creator is a job title that exists now because of sites like Vine. Do you remember when Taye Diggs pretended to hit his face on that chair, or Logan Paul just wouldn't stop knocking over garbage cans? That's the primordial soup. And TikTok is the newest juggernaut, breaking once again directly into the mainstream. Where Vine slithered, TikTok now runs, allowing its biggest star to be welcomed onto the Jimmy Fallon show because she dances real good, I guess. And now many notable celebrities are jumping to TikTok to promote the work that they're doing, try to make content themselves, or just prove how out of touch they are. But that doesn't happen if Vine isn't recognized as a giant success. Now young people can once again lip sync to their favorite songs, learn dances, pretend that they're actors. But people forget that when TikTok first started, many of its creators were lip syncing to famous Vines. And these things have been noticed by Hollywood. Quibi is their answer to that, an entertainment platform whose advertisements had the threatening energy of the monster from It Follows, wanted to make full-length mini content. And it didn't make anywhere near the splash that TikTok, Musical.ly, or Vine did. Social media's been around for a while now, but Vine should be considered something that is a cultural turning point with a distinct before and a rapidly evolving after. It's so easy to look down your nose at the house Vine built. Hell, I do it all the time. But there is something beautiful about the first homunculus some scientist comes along and breathes life into in direct defiance of God's will. Vine is that homunculus. Facebook was a hot or not page. And now it and TikTok are supposedly selling your information to the highest bidder. Vine lasted for about 4 years. It's been gone almost as long as it was around, and it still has a new YouTube compilation every other day. That's amazing. Obviously, 2020 has been horse's ass, and it's nice to look back at a time when the worst threat to our health was Grown Ups 2 being released in theaters. And you may be asking yourself, why make this video? And, why make Vine? The human spirit is intrepid, creative, tenacious, and should be respected and feared at all costs. Vine proves that. 2013. It was the best of Vines. It was the worst of Vines.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?